What? What? What are you yelling at, you wee daft concrete tiki god? What do you mean, what time is it? What day is it? What are you talking about? What's the date? I don't know, it's April 2020. I'm uploading the Ron Stewart appreciation build. Why are you waking me up? Like, asking the date. What do you mean, check my phone? You check my phone for what? The date? November 3rd, 2021? That can't be right. I mean, well, I was dreaming. Well, I don't know. What do you mean, pandemic? COVID-19. Are you serious? You mean that wasn't just a dream? Ah, no! Ahoy, hoy, YouTube modeling community. It's the Lazy-Eyed Modeler here in the Woody Workshop. Just want to say hello. It's been quite a while. I never intended to go dark, so to speak. Certainly, like everybody else, COVID-19 hit, everything stopped, and we kind of just stopped with it, you know. I really, I didn't intend to stop making videos. I didn't intend to, just ignore the channel. I kind of even haven't been following you guys as much as I used to, which you've probably seen from lack of comments or lack of thumbs up or whatever, likes or stuff like that. I've ended up watching channels with longer videos that are not hobby related exactly, like things like Buzz Grease Monkey and Iron Trap Garage and Flying Sparks Garage and Alex and Autos and stuff like that. I've just not been keeping up as much with the hobby community. I popped in the odd place and said, good job or great ads to the stash or whatever. But certainly with the COVID-19 thing going on and with everything here shut down for pretty much a year and a half, there's been no shows except for one which I'll mention later. There's, fortunately for me, there's the group that I belong to, TAPS, the Toronto Area Plastic Modelers. We've been having Zoom meetings twice a week, so that's been great. But just with the whole not being able to go anywhere type of thing, you kind of just compress almost. Like it just, your world gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's been no motivation. I have filled with a few things, which I will show in a later video, but not much. Really just, I don't want to say a mental health issue, because I don't feel it's that way. It's just, life is good and all that type of thing. It's just, can't go anywhere, can't do anything, and for our American friends, you guys have been ramped back up. You've had a bunch of shows to go to and all that, and here in Ontario we had one little one down in Windsor, which I did end up going to, but there's been nothing else. There's been a couple of trunk sales, which was good. You got out to see a couple, you see fellow modelers in person outside. The one I didn't attend was in Ottawa. I attended a couple in Whitby at Daily Hobbies, and that was good. But beyond that, just haven't, it's kind of been blah. And a big part of this channel is if you go back, if you've just watching this video and it's the first video of mine you've seen, a big part of my thing is covering shows and whatnot. And obviously I haven't been able to do that. I was hoping to go to the Motor City NNL coming up in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, coming up soon. and they opened the border. The Canadian government opened our border in August. The American border just opened up to us starting November 8th, so it's actually not open, at least for vehicular traffic. You could fly over, and apparently somebody told me that lives in a border town that you could actually walk over, but you can't drive over. So that finally opened, and I thought, oh great, get to go to a big show and all that. Well, our government, the Canadian government, requires you to have a COVID-19 test, which costs you, if you're doing it just for the hell of it, costs you $150 to $200. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not paying that to go over to a model show for a test that's good, for 72 hours. It's like, well, yeah, I could go and get back in that time, but I'm not paying that money to go to the show. If you're going down to Arizona or Florida or something for 2 months or 3 months or something, that's probably worth it to you. But just to go to a model show, not happening. I'm so ticked with them, because I was ramped right up, and that kind of explained why I went for my little trip to Windsor, just to see a show. When you haven't gone anywhere overnight for 2 years, I got to do something. So I surprised my wife, and the Friday before the show, I said, I'm thinking of going to this model show overnight and da-da-da-da-da, and she looked at me like, what? But anyway, I ended up going, and it'll be a story in itself. But anyway, so I'm going to try to get a little more content on here for you folks. One item will be the show that I went to in Windsor, Ontario. And we've got a bunch of pictures from there. It was held at their aviation museum in Windsor. So not only is there will be model content, but also some of the planes that they're restoring and whatnot. It's really neat going to the shows at aviation museums just to see the airplanes. And I'm not a big plane guy. Like, I've got maybe 6 to 10 airplane kits and all these car kits, buried in all these car kits. But it's still, I certainly appreciate them, and so I think it's cool to go to shows at aviation museums. If you go back in my library, you'll see that there shows, model pictures and coverage from the Hamilton Aviation Museum. And they have a bunch of beautiful big planes in there. Windsor's Aviation Museum is much smaller, so what they have is certainly much less, and what they have, a lot of it is under restoration. And quarters were rather cramped because they'd moved all the planes sort of back and aside so they could lay out the model contest. So it's kind of cramped, but you'll see some good pictures from that. Good thing from the trunk sale and the trip to the Aviation Museum is I got to meet some people that do follow this channel, and I also learned from my mistakes, because at the trunk sale in Whitby there was a gentleman that said hello. He's a fan of the channel, told me his name. I didn't write it down, I didn't copy it, and I've forgotten it, so I apologize. If you have an account and you can leave a comment, I'd appreciate it, so I can add it to my knowledge base. So I learned when I went to Windsor that there was a couple there, and they said, hey, and everybody has masks on. Like up here in Canada, you don't go in a building or show or anything without a mask on. So it's not like south of the border in many places. So we're all got masks on, but they heard my voice, and that sounds like that guy that does that, Lazy Eyed Modeler, that YouTube channel. So they came up to me and said, do you do a... Yes, I do. So Richard and Nancy, and I think I've got that right, and I should have checked it before I filmed this, but yep. Richard and Nancy, thank you for stopping and saying hello. I learned from forgetting the gentleman's name at Daly's Hobbies that I should, when somebody introduces themselves, I should put it on the phone since I got it with me, and I can remember to say hello. properly in a video. So hello, Richard and Nancy, and thank you for stopping and saying hello, and I appreciate the good words you've said about the Lazy Odd Modelers channel. So I think we'll leave it at that for now. I'm going to work on finally doing the show from Windsor, and it was like two and a half weeks ago. So I'm going to work on getting that together. My poor old MacBook is getting old. It's getting very slow, so it takes a while to do this stuff on the iMovie thing. So we'll work on that for you. And I will show the 2 or 3 projects where I did get some progress done. Believe it or not, just in a year and a half. It's only 2 or 3, but I will show those also. And we'll see where we go from there. Thank you for everybody for posting content out there. Thank you to those of you who followed the channel. I appreciate it, especially since it's been dark for a year and a half and I've been really inconsistent, and you think a retired guy could do better, but what can I say? Anyway, thank you all. I appreciate all of you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.